Switching back to election news, this guy right here, Dave Rutherford from 660 News in this morning, giving us his 2 cents. We got a lot to cover, Dave. We have a 2-term councillor going down in defeat, a recount likely in Ward 1, 4 new people joining council in all, new mayor re-elected with a huge support. Let's start with the mayor. No surprise here, right? 74% of people.
No, not really a surprise. I think everybody predicted Nenshi was going to win. But you know what? I think John Lord actually did believe he had a chance at this thing. He really had some momentum near the end, as we talked a little bit about yesterday. But you're right, Nenshi all the way. Funny about John Lord, he didn't want to concede last night. Didn't want to. Really? Didn't want to say, okay, I lost. He said, well, let's wait for all the votes to come in. Okay, John.
There you go.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, no surprise there for Nenshi. I think his foundation isn't as strong as it was, though. I think there's some shifting under the feet of the mayor now, and he's going to have to deal with his new council. I think there are some conservatives there, some fiscal conservatives, a couple in Sean Chew, of course, who knocked off, but
Gail McLeod in Ward 4,
a big-time Nenshi supporter there. She gets dumped by Sean Chew, and Maglioka, who is a conservative as well, takes over in Gord Lowe's riding. And so looking for Ward Sutherland now, who was not really on anybody's list, except the voters, as it turns out, could also be, I'm just thinking there was some wins for the spenders, so sort of the Libs did have some success. I mean, Drew Farrell got back in because the vote was split, quite frankly, against her. I think that's the thing.
I think so, too.
I mean, Alexander and Taylor split that vote. Taylor had a pretty good chance to dump her.
Yeah, Taylor was at 28%. Brent Alexander was at 26%. Drew Farrell only getting 37%.
So, I mean, you know, without one of those in there, it was a whole different deal. Anyway, some of them are back, but I think there's still enough of a foot on the brake pedal of spending there that we can get. Maybe the whole tax and spend agenda can be talked about.
Okay.
Let's hope so.
On council.
On council.
So there you go. Another person, you talk about this foundation shifting and stuff. John Marr's gone.
John Marr's gone.
That caught me off guard.
Oh, I think it caught everybody off guard. I think John Marr was no friend of Nenshi. I mean, they were not buddies on council. And so I'm sure that Nenshi's quite happy that Evan Woolley is there now, a young newbie lefty kid coming in there to support Nenshi. but you know, John didn't translate his work, his Mission Possible work on the flood. You know, he motivated all these volunteers, and it looked like he had that ward locked. Not so much. So is that voter turnout? Is that turning against I don't know. I would have thought incumbents would have had a shot. I thought they were, and it turned out pretty much a lock. I don't know what happened with John. If it's an inner city phenomenon, if there's a different kind of electorate now, if they're younger, maybe they're a little more, maybe they're less political, less sharp-edged, maybe, than John was. I don't know. It's an interesting examination of that one, but I know John was leading most of the night, then all of a sudden, boom.
And then all of a sudden, boom,
it was over.
I know, I went to bed before all the results were in because I was tired, had to get up this morning. So,
you know what, I think, though, I know we were digressing a bit, but that may be the story of this election. What happened with the count? I mean, can't they count ballots faster in this in this city with all the electronic connections we've got? The vote count went forever. And even the advance poll. I mean, couldn't you kick that out at 1 minute after 8? It wasn't. 2 hours later. So I don't know. I mean, there'll have to hopefully be some examination of how we vote. But there is that talk about electronic voting. People say maybe if we had electronic voting, more people would participate.
Yeah, an online thing. Like you can bank online, all those things.
You can.
It's financially secure.
I'm a little worried about it only because, you know, everybody's just click, 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 click. Pretty anonymous, you know, click, okay, I'll do this, click, click, click.
As opposed to going in and marking the X.
As opposed to actually talking to people, seeing them and marking an X and talking to a candidate. I'm not so sure it's the answer. You might get more votes, but I don't know if that's the answer. So anyway, those things to be discussed later, Ted, at another time. But yeah, we do have a return of his purpleness. But I do think we have a new force on council that hopefully will bring some fiscal accountability for the next 4 years. That's what I'm hoping will happen with some of these new faces.
There you go. Dave Rutherford from 660 News. You can hear his commentary 7:09, 12:09, 4:09 in the afternoon, daily on 660 News. Thank you so much for your insight as always.
Thank you, Ted.
Good to see you. Foundation's shifting. And good